White people are obsessed with black people.
White people are very weak. You guys can't handle the truth. There's a lot of microaggression and straight out aggression, especially against the black community, black women. I'm not the first person who's ever said this. I'm maybe the first person who's put it this way, but black women have been saying that the white culture is performative, the white American culture is performative for a while, and it hasn't been received well. There's a lot of projection, there's a lot of hate, anger, and gaslighting that happens to them. And I only got a small taste of that in my comment section. And I don't know if that's gonna trigger them or you guys. What's gonna trigger you guys more is the fact that I also observed that you guys don't like yourself. In the white American culture, there's an epidemic of lack of self-love. There's a lot of self-hatred to the point where you hate yourself and you don't like yourself so much that you just only hate others. And again, I'm not also the first person to say this, but I know that if I say this, and I will, and I am saying this right now, I'm not gonna get a lot of nice comments, but it's the truth. However, if a white man says this, it's gonna be more well received. Here's a white man on TikTok who's been speaking truth. And I've noticed he is more well received. People are listening to him, which is great, because more white women, white men need to speak out. Because when black women or someone that looks like me speak out, there's just a lot of aggression and microaggression.
Hello brothers and sisters, I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you are watching me from. Now, this white lady called the ICE team to come and raid or deport the undocumented immigrants in her neighborhood. Now, these are the same people who have been working in their farms. These are the same people who have been working 2 to 3 shifts to pay their rent or to pay their mortgage. Why will you want them deported out of your country? The same people who have been showing up in your farms and working at a cheaper price or rendering cheap labor. Now, do you know who are calling her out? The same white people are calling her out for her bad behavior. So let's watch this video, then have a really quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
Racism is about jealousy. If you think that's a reductive statement, please stick with me. When I say jealousy, I'm talking about insecurity, which is really what jealousy is, but I think it's easier to understand if I say insecurity rather than just jealousy. Because we know from appropriation that we are very jealous of other cultures. Why would we want to listen to the music, eat the food, wear the clothes, do the hairstyles, have everything, the language, but not give credit where credit is due and not uplift the people who created it? White people are so lost in feeling like they don't have a connection to culture, especially many of us who are very far removed from our European roots. And I think the need to fill that space and that insecurity of this lack of culture and lack of something to call our own is often filled with cultural appropriation and the idea that being white is superior. I was first introduced to this concept of racism being jealousy in college, and I can't trace it back to one particular scholar, but I would like to give credit where credit is due to that black scholar. If you can find anything tracing it to one particular person, please leave that in the comments. I think it's important to think about racism in this way if we want to unlearn it. Because, as some people say who are non-monogamous, or anyone who's just working on their relationships, jealousy is an indicator that something is not quite right with us. It's an indicator of our insecurity and how we might be feeling. It's not about what our partner is doing or what someone on Instagram is doing with their life that makes us feel inadequate. It's about something going on inside. And I think we really need to interrogate that. What is it about people of color showing excellence, people of color maybe being more in touch with culture, people of color being more in touch with the environment, people of color making better food, and everything else that we envy? What does that trigger in us? And why do we have the need to put those people down? It's about jealousy. And if we can figure out that we're feeling that way and trace that feeling back to maybe some of our unconscious biases, I think it's a lot easier to start thinking about, how can we unlearn that? How can I feel secure in my identity as a white person who has roots in maybe Italian and like other cultures, but like doesn't really feel connected to anything? How can I feel secure in myself to not want to put others down, whether that be racism or any other form of discrimination, or just plain hating on another woman because she's amazing? You know, I think this makes it seem like racism is very simple, but it also just helps us frame it in a way that's accessible to us. We know that dismantling racism starts with individual work, and personal growth is all about thinking about the hard things about yourself and the things and parts of yourself that you don't like. And jealousy is one of those things. No one wants to be jealous. It's an awful, awful feeling. And we don't want to admit that we're jealous. And we shy away from that, but it's something we can interrogate, and I think that is going to help us go a long way. Anyway, just my thoughts. Happy Juneteenth. I hopefully will speak about this more coherently in the future. Yeah, Black Lives Matter.
Alright, racists, let's talk about your distaste for black joy.
Racist America fumes at the sight of happiness, especially when that person smiling is black. It's as if this country specializes in anger Olympics. Being a little too happy disturbs the patriotism. 3 or more laughs in one place is like being investigated by a mall cop. I'm gonna need to see some ID. Because deep down, they believe that pain is the only state that black indigenous people are allowed to live in. Black people start laughing too loud at their cousin's cookout. They throw on some Frankie Beverly. They start dancing with their auntie in a sundress while the ribs are sizzling. Instantly, their lives are in danger. It's like watching a perfect example of a case study on people who have a problem with control. It's like their obsession isn't just with control, it's like with the optics of it as well. They want to be seen as dominant in the space, because they seem to disappear when there is black joy. When you throw your graduation cap in the air, surrounded by your entire family in matching t-shirts, they don't see achievement, they see defiance. Because in their minds, success was never black people's storyline. The truth is, black joy is a glitch in the racist lies that they feed themselves. They built a whole myth of superiority that only works if you're miserable, delusional, insecure, jealous, and mediocre. When black people shift the world with their joy and laughter, the racist's entire self-image starts to crack. This is why racists gatekeep golf courses, ban urban dress codes, side-eye loud laughter, and call the cops when the music's just a little too bassy. The unnecessary hate and determination to ruin black people's happiness is a disease, a brain-eating amoeba that siphons the cognition out of America's privileged society. And what hurts the most is that happiness and black joy is more infectious.
Y'all be getting tired of me talking about stuff like this, and y'all be thinking like I'm OD and I'm just dragging it, but I promise y'all I'm not. The story time I'm finna give y'all is literally the reason why I be saying stuff I be saying. If the shoe fits, then wear Cinderella. If not, keep scrolling. Don't be coming to my comments talking about some, well, not all, babes. Yeah, majority, but not all. Y'all be thinking I'm lying when I say that a lot of white women, literally, they do not like seeing a black woman do better than them. They do not like seeing a black woman who is prettier than them. They don't like seeing a black woman that overpasses them. As long as you're not doing better than them, then they're good. I'm friends, she's black, with a girl who runs track, and I was spending some time with her, like, talking with her. I talked to her in a minute. I'm sitting on the couch or whatever, I'm on the phone, and I'm talking to her, and she's telling me about this teammate who's also her roommate. She's white. She started telling me about the passive and microaggressive behavior that her teammate would show her during practice and in her dorm room. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean? Explain. She told me about a situation where, like, every day at practice, she beats her. Her times are always faster than hers. Like, she overpasses her in everything she does. She said she would look at her white teammate whenever they would get done running and ask her if she's good, if she's okay, because she'd be huffing and puffing and breathing hard like she ain't took a breath in hours. And she said the white girl would just like side eye her, give her a dirty look, or just won't say nothing. Then she said it was this one time when they were in practice and they were doing time trials and they were running and whatnot, and she ended up beating her. My friend, the black girl, she's not the fastest on her team. There's maybe like a few people that's faster than her by a little bit, but she's like top 3, top 5. The people that's faster than her, maybe by like a little bit, are not black, but still. There was one day in practice they were doing the time trials, and after everybody got done running, her roommate, the white girl, starts crying, and people start surrounding her, asking her what's wrong, and her teammate looks at her, not the other girls that's faster than her. She looks at my friend, the black girl, and goes, she can't be better than me. She can't be better. She can't be faster than me. Like, white women do not like seeing black women surpass them. Like, I kid y'all, I'm not making this up. I looked at my fan because we over the phone. I'm looking at my friend. I'm like, she said that out loud, or did she say that to you, or did you just hear it around the grapevine? She said no. She said that out loud. That's what she told the people that was checking on her, that was asking about her. She was like, she said it out loud. She said she cannot be better than me. She cannot be faster than me. Mind you, my friend, the black girl, is not the fastest on the team. She's top 5, but she is not the top fastest. Top fastest are not even black. But it's like she picked my friend out and was like, oh, she can't be better than me. She can't be faster than me. Do y'all see what I'm like? Do y'all see what I'm talking about though? Like, do y'all see what I mean? It's like, I was having a conversation with my best friend like a week ago, and we got a kind of like a mini argument about this, because he was trying to say, well, Shay, not all white people are bad, not all white girls are bad. And I said, I'm not saying every white person is bad. You got to read the fruits of their spirits first. I was explaining to him, bro, a lot of these white people will smile and kiki in your face, because I think I've seen videos and I've met her teammate before. She's really sweet, super nice. But I was like, a lot of these white women will smile and kiki and ha-ha in your face. A lot of these white people will smile and kiki and ha-ha in your face. But when you're not around, you're having conversations with their families about how they feel about black people, how they feel about people of color. Low key, they be hiding, envy in their heart. They be in these one-sided competitions with you. My friend was literally telling me that there's times where she would do things and say things and try to pick fights with her, and you could tell that she's doing it just to get a reaction out of her. That's why I'm not saying all white people are bad. I'm not saying all white women are bad. I am not. I can read the fruits of the spirit of someone, and I can tell if they're like, a genuine person or not. A lot of y'all, when you're dealing with white people, especially as a black woman, when you're dealing with white women, this is a tick for tack game. And I promise you I win every time. This is a tick for tack game with them. You gotta have strategy when dealing with them. I told my friend, I said, you need to make sure you're praying over yourself. I said, you need to make sure you keep yourself prayed over, watch your back and whatnot, because to be around someone like that is dangerous. So it's very obvious that she's envious of you. It's very obvious that she's in this one-sided beef with you. And I said, anything that she can do to trip you up, get you in trouble, do anything to screw you up, she's going to do it. And then play victim and act like she ain't do nothing. I said, you need to be careful. This is what I be talking about. Like, I know y'all be thinking, oh, Shay's dramatic, Shay's just so super pro-black. No, like, these are real life situations that people are going through. It's a dangerous position to be in. Like, I don't.
When white people in the United States balk at the idea of paying reparations to black Americans who descended from slaves, they disagree with the Bible. To begin with, let's first define what reparations mean. Reparations are a form of compensation or restitution made to those who have suffered injustice, specifically in cases of racial inequality, discrimination, and slavery. The idea of paying reparations to black Americans is not a new one. It has been a topic of discussion for decades, if not centuries. However, it has gained renewed attention and support in recent years. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. also advocated for reparations in the form of economic advancement for black Americans. As a Christian, I believe that reparations are not only a matter of justice and equality, but also a reflection of God's character. In the Bible, we see numerous examples of God's concern for the oppressed, the marginalized, and the downtrodden. From the Israelites' liberation from slavery in Egypt to Jesus' ministry among the poor and the outcast, we see a consistent theme of God's love for those who are on the margins of society. One of the key biblical principles that underlie the idea of reparations is the concept of restitution. In the book of Leviticus, we see God commanding the Israelites to make restitution to those whom they have wronged. Leviticus chapter 6 says that if anyone sins and commits a breach of faith against the Lord by deceiving his neighbor in a matter of deposit or security or through robbery, or if he has oppressed his neighbor or found something lost and lied about it, swearing falsely, he shall restore it in full and shall add a fifth to it and give it to him to whom it belongs. This passage emphasizes the importance of making restitution to those who have been wronged, and not just restoring what has been taken, but adding to it as a form of compensation. This principle of restitution can be applied to the issue of reparations to black Americans who have suffered centuries of enslavement, discrimination, and systemic oppression. Another biblical principle that supports the idea of reparations is the concept of jubilee. In Leviticus chapter 25, God commands to the Israelites to observe a jubilee. This was a radical idea of economic justice designed to prevent the accumulation of wealth and power in the hands of a few and to ensure that all members of society had equal access to resources and opportunities. The idea of Jubilee can be seen as a model for reparations in that it seeks to address the root causes of inequality and oppression rather than just treating the symptoms. By forgiving debts, freeing slaves, and returning property, Jubilee seeks to create a more just and equitable society, one in which everyone has the opportunity to flourish. As a Christian, I believe that paying reparations to Black Americans is not only a matter of justice and equity, but also a reflection of God's character and values. Through the biblical principles of restitution and jubilee, we see a model for how we can address the historical and systemic injustices that have plagued our society for far too long. While the issue of reparations is complex and contentious, I believe that as Christians, we have a responsibility to seek justice.
I'm going to keep saying this with my whole chest because some people are not deep thinkers. I understand that you're not a critical thinker. This is not for you. It's just not for you. Scroll up. So, my point today is, well, not today, but at this moment, like, why does Black joy bother some white people? And some other groups, but majority is white people. And not all of you. You know what I'm talking about. You ever notice how the group of Black folks, like, they come together laughing, dancing, and just vibing, and suddenly it's labeled as too loud, too ghetto, or too much? Jealousy. Jealousy. You know why? Because they couldn't strip that away. And it's surviving. But let's be real. It's not about the volume that's the problem. It's the vibrations. It's the freedom. It's the fact that we can still find joy after centuries of trying to be stripped of who we are. We still make something out of nothing. You understand? See, Black joy is like disruptive in certain people. It challenges. And where we're supposed to be broken, angry, and silent, it's like loving, living, and celebrating. So it's not just confusion. It's threatening to a certain group of people. Because Black joy, for us, is power, is resistance, it's healing, it's ancestral. Of all the things they said we could not do, it's lies. Remember, we were here way before other groups were here. And now our happiness is not a performance. It's reclaiming who we said we always were. So the next time somebody looks uncomfortable with your Black joy, remember that you're not the problem. They're just uncomfortable and can't believe that after all this time, we are still celebrating who we are and who we are meant to be and who we are growing to be. So tell me, have you ever felt like your joy made somebody else uncomfortable? Let's talk about it, y'all. To me, I don't give a flying fuck who feels uncomfortable. This is my life, my body, and if you feel uncomfortable, move the fuck away. Right? Because where I was for Black Bike Weekend, we were on the side, I'm not gonna say the grown folks side, but we like our peace. So of course, it was a mix of Black and white people. Like, we all around each other. We all talking to each other. You think anybody grabbed their purse because they see bikers in leather? No, they're used to it. They're talking, they're waving, they're like, oh, let me tell me about your bike, blah, 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 blah. These are people talking, not afraid and not jealous. There are some, but we didn't cross any this weekend. Okay? But have y'all ever experienced that? Like, you having joy, you having celebration, especially with all the graduates. Did you see those comments talking about Black fatigue in the comments of Black joy celebrating the college? See, the point that I'm trying to get at is no one who doesn't, how can I say this? If you Black, you understand. It comes naturally, and it doesn't matter what state you from. We all have a common denominator of celebrating our Blackness, and people can't stand that. People can't stand that. And I'm not just talking about in America. We go somewhere else. Black joy is celebrated different ways, but we still have that common denominator of celebrating of what we achieve regardless of the fact. Okay, let me get off my soapbox. Anyway, happy Tuesday.
One more thing in 2025 bringing me joy, watching the regular white folks crash out. The government trying to rage bait Black folks into getting upset or protesting using these ridiculous tactics, removing DEI, erasing black and female histories from the Arlington Cemetery website, tearing down Black Lives Matter signage in DC, and now these new segregation laws. Child, America is on fire, and we still ain't coming out the house. And as sad as it is, it's actually hilarious, and that's bringing me joy. But here's the thing. Black folks are unmoved. We're learning line dance, sharing our Le Creuset cookware, resting, watching movies, leveling up with Hillman Talk University, saving money, honey, and living our best lives. All the while, the regular white folks are panicking, wondering what we gonna do. Baby, we ain't speaking French. Ain't no we in this. And y'all, it's bringing me joy. And it should be bringing you joy too. It reminds me of my toddler when he didn't get his way. Like I would just step over him and keep moving while he was having an all-out tantrum on the floor. And he would stop for a while and kind of look at me to see if I was looking at him and continue crying. So the regular white folks are crashing out. And honey, we stepping over them and keeping it moving. Muskrat, Wig, and the rest of them, we ain't got the energy to give y'all. And just like I did with my son, honey, we stepping over them and keeping it moving. And that is bringing me joy. And it should be bringing you joy too. Because we shall not be moved. We shan't be moved. And it's bringing me joy. Happy Black History 365. And I'll see you next time.
Coming to terms with how anti-black the world is has been very, very odd. Well, how anti-black American the world is. Let me be specific. Like, we literally get smoke from all angles. You know, me just expressing my point of view, giving a perspective, the same as anybody else. My race is automatically attacked. My culture is automatically attacked. My lineage is automatically attacked. My complexion has gotten attacked. My hair texture is attacked. The way I dress is attacked. Like, there literally are people pretending to pick cotton as a dig. It's utterly disgusting, you know, and responding to people, meeting them where they are. It's like we're just automatically supposed to turn the other cheek and always take the fucking high road. Like, what is that? The world is so used to beating us down. I just saw this African woman going on a rant about how much she just hates Black Americans, and she lives in America. Like, ma'am, do you not understand that civil rights laws are primarily one of the reasons why you're able to successfully migrate here and set up shop and create a life for yourself? Like, it's just mind-boggling. I did not know that it was like this. And starting my journey on social media has been crazy, even with TikTok. Like, literally, me responding to racist comments, my comments get flagged. I have to appeal comments, yet the racism just easily bleeds through. It's so crazy. It kind of feels like being on an island alone. Spread love is your Brooklyn way. It's the Brooklyn way. My hair is crazy, but it's flying all over the place.
Hey white people, it's Juneteenth, and that means that we are celebrating the freedom of Black Americans who had been enslaved. And while it is a beautiful day in history when finally all enslaved Americans were able to have the knowledge that they were now free, you know, if we know anything about history, we know that it took a long time for there to be actual freedom in terms of things like civil rights, and that we are still fighting an oppressive white supremacist system of government, and there are many ways in which many people are still enslaved to that system. So it is a day for celebration, but it's also a day to reflect and say, what more can we do? How much farther do we need to go? Very far. We have pretty far to go still. But that doesn't take away from the celebration. As a white person, what can you do to celebrate Juneteenth? You can refrain from questioning why we have such a holiday and why it needs to be a federal holiday, which it now is, yeah, we don't need white people. We don't need to question the validity of this holiday. We need to understand that it is a valid day to have, and let's celebrate it as such. Things that you can do, active things, like things you can actually do, is support Black-owned businesses today. Do a little Google search and find out in your area, where is there a Black-owned restaurant, store? What are the things that you can do to support the Black community where you live? Maybe you need something done in your home. Let's go to a Black-owned electrician company, or air conditioning maintenance company, or a contractor. Let's try to give money to communities that have been systemically oppressed over the years. It doesn't look like reparations are coming anytime soon, so think about how you can incorporate a form of reparations in your own life. Happy Juneteenth.
Real quick, I saw a video. This man said that Black people are mad because there's a group of white people that are starting an all-white community, and he was like, if y'all are so mad, then start your own. But we did, and y'all burned it down. So now what?
I watched this video of this white lady calling out the ICE raids to come and deport a Black person. And I was like, does this still exist to date? Like, why will you think like you are in 1970s? Why will you think it is as if it's when the Blacks are now being brought to America? This kind of thinking is whatever has paralyzed America. This type of thinking is whatever is making America to fall. The economy is now falling because the only thing people see is racism. They have divided people into classes, into social groups, and into colors. Like, they know that you're Black, they know that you're brown, they know that you can do this, you can do that, because of your color. Now, I'm very glad that she had to receive some backlash for whatever she has been doing. Most of the time I do say that we've been practicing identity politics for the longest time. That's whatever is paralyzing us years after years. Look at the situation now. Many soybeans farmers are now having it rough because they voted for policies thinking they are going to affect those Black people and those undocumented immigrants. Look who is now suffering. They can't sell their soybeans. And China is rooting for Brazil instead of the US farmers. Now, if this happens for a longer time, we are going to see a lot of bankrupt people. Farmers are going to be bankrupt, and so many of them are going to lose the money they used to get when their soybeans were being sold to China. Now, most people, and I mean the MAGA white supporters, went to vote to punish the Black man. They went to vote to punish the undocumented immigrants. Most of them never expected that it was going to backfire on them. They went to fight someone who was not fighting them. Now, the fight has turned back to them. Tables have turned around, and see who is now crying. See who is now begging for people to help them. See who is now crying out for bailout because they are going bankrupt. Sometimes they say if you dig a hole or if you dig a grave, make sure you dig yours too, because some things can go wild and some things can turn around and not work for you as you expected. So we are seeing most of the same people who are voting for the same policies to punish the black immigrants or the black community who have been here for the longest, are now suffering the same consequences of whatever they wished on other people. Let's not be confused, brothers and sisters. Racists should not have a place in our societies. Racism either should not have a place. See how many people have messed up the economy just because of this same thing. The same people are still suffering from tariffs. Now the soybeans are now rotting in their farms. Most of their farm workers are nowhere. They're not showing up because some of them have been deported, and those who have not been deported, they are having some fear to come out because of outrage. And people like this who call the eyes on some of the other people who have not been raided, they have a problem because some of them are very jealous of whatever the black people and the undocumented immigrants have been achieving over time. It is the other day I was talking about black excellence, and I was talking about how immigrants and the black folks have been able to excel and to amass massive wealth for this little time they have been in the US, just because they have been very, very focused on living in an environment where they're not wanted, and an environment which has been so harsh on them. So what do? They have adapted to hardness. They are very, very focused, and they are very hardworking. Most of them do 2 to 3 shifts a day just to pay mortgage, just to pay taxes, and to make sure that they are not suffering in the US. What has happened to the black community? The black community has had a lot of privileges. In fact, this is a group of individuals who have been receiving bailouts whenever their businesses are not doing well. They have been on the soft side of the economy. They have always been favored, and it is now not working anymore. The favors they were receiving, the white supremacy, it is no longer working for them. Most of them are now crying out to the black community. Most of them are also feeling jealousy to the black community, because the black community is still thriving under these harsh conditions and harsh economic times. This is because we all know the black community has been here. The environment has never favored the black man. The black man had to do a lot. The black community has seen it all. When they had a leader to talk for them or to talk on their behalf, we have had a government or a system which has come to which has actually taken that away from them. When they wanted someone to speak on their behalf, the system didn't allow that to happen. So how do you expect yourself, people who have gone all through these things, to be shaken by a mere tariff, to be shaken by soybeans not being sold somewhere, to be shaken by the skyrocketing prices of goods? Of course, that affects them, but they have seen much worse than that. That's why sometimes they keep their cool and they just keep quiet. And most people will be like, why are they not talking? Why are the black people not actually rendering their voice to this struggle? It is a struggle, yes, you might call it that way, but this is something that you wanted. This is something you voted for. Unlike the black people who have been here for a very long time, receiving all mannerism of police brutality, seeing it all. Now, from the moment they were brought to this land, they have seen worse than they can speak. That most of these systems have oppressed them. And these systems also, The same systems that have seen white supremacy taking place, the same system that has overseen the exploitation of the black community, the same system that has failed to compensate the black community, is now the same system that has brought tariffs. The same system now which is ending actually white privilege. You know, most of the farmers are now crying because they have never seen such a thing. They have been on the safe side. They have been receiving bailouts whenever they are going bankrupt. Whenever their crops have not been doing well, the government has always chipped to help them. On the other side, the black farmers have not been receiving that. In fact, I've been seeing videos where black farmers complain about not being given loans or not being eligible to receive loans just because of their color. This is very dangerous, of course. These things should not have been happening in the 21st century. But the same people who are now crying out to be helped are the same people who went ahead to vote for the same system. What do you expect of a system that was brought in out of hatred for others? A system that won its election just because some people expected them to deport their enemies or to deport those who they do not actually they do not go well in politics. Identity politics is whatever is making you sad today. That's whatever is making you lose a lot of millions of dollars just because you voted thinking all these struggles, all these things that are not worth it, they are going to happen to the undocumented immigrants and to the black community. To your utter surprise, the black community is doing well. Though the undocumented immigrants are being deported, but you can feel the heat because you are now realizing these are the same people who worked in your farms. Who did you expect to work in your farms if the immigrants were being deported or were going to be deported? Most probably, they thought the black community is going to volunteer to work in their farms. But the black community has kept their cool. They are very silent. They are not talking about it. Brothers and sisters, we must unite and we must do whatever it takes to beat corruption, to beat racism, and to make sure that our community is safe from identity politics. Most of these people are suffering from scarcity mentality, that they only think about themselves and anything that affects them. Something that doesn't touch their lives, doesn't affect them, they feel like it is none of their business. Most of them are just talking because it has happened and it is really affecting them. But if that wasn't the case, they could be so quiet at the moment. So let's not be selfish. This is the greatest or the highest level of selfishness that you can do to yourself and your brothers and sisters. Let's not be this wicked. I've seen a lot of times black people begging for unity for a very long time. Now, the people who are begging for unity are now being begged for unity. The black folks are very chilled. They're not talking. They're minding their business. And do you know who is crying? The same person who went to the ballot to vote for a system which is very biased. Now, I don't say Kamala was good. I don't see Democrats or Republicans are good. Be very wise how you vote because that will affect your life for the next 4 years. Thank you so much.